Hello, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Sunday edition of This Week with Riley King. Let's get started right now. Happy Sunday, everyone. First up, asked about political predictions for 2022. The Dispatch writer tells George Stephanopoulos that the Biden administration has left immigration off the sideline. Another crisis will happen and they will be caught flat-footed once again. Let's take a look at that video from ABC This Week.
Off on the sidelines, another crisis.
Back now with the roundtable, looking ahead to 2022. Donnie, you can have all the caveats you want, but your predictions first.
Well, I've given up on the Saints, so I'm going to predict extreme weather will cause us to invest more in green energy.
Hopeful prediction then.
Yeah.
Sarah Isker.
Back-to-back gold medals for our Olympic curling team in just a few weeks. They can do it. I believe in them. It's not so much a prediction, just a hope. But I also, on the political side, I think the Biden administration has left immigration off on the sidelines. Another crisis will happen, and they will be caught flat-footed once again.
Beth?
I predict it will be a long, hard road if we don't get voting rights done at the top of the year. On a good note, I predict that Stacey Abrams is going to be the governor of Georgia, which will brighten all of our lives and take out one of the most awful villains in the country right now.
Well, there you go. I'll do the opposite. I'll predict that against both the Republican primary and Stacey Abrams in Georgia, that Brian Kemp will be reelected governor of Georgia,
right.
And that will make him an even more prominent figure in the
both
Republican
the primary
Party.
and the general.
He will win both the primary and the general. And Kevin McCarthy will be the Speaker of the House a year from now.
Kevin, okay.
That's a hot prediction.
All these political predictions, since
So many caveats.
I also predict that after this surge, we're going to see the end of this pandemic by the end of the summer. I really do.
I'm not so optimistic about that.
No. I get the sense that the American people understand that this is time to get fully vaccinated and to mask up so that we can get through this.
We have a few seconds left. I'm going to throw something out there about 2024. What are the chances, you give just a number, that it'll be a rematch between Donald Trump and Joe Biden?
50%.
Up. I'm at 80.
I believe 100% that Trump is running again. I don't know what Biden's going to do yet.
The matchup is the question?
Yeah.
30%.
30%. I'm closer to Chris and everybody else. We'll be right back.
Okay, and there you go. Republicans are always saying they're about law and order and back the blue. Unless it's their own people. Democracy for American CEO tells George as investigations into the January 6th ramp up. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC This Week.
Mark Carlin seems to be damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Well, I think he needs to do what's right here. And I think we all watched what happened that day. We know it didn't come out of thin air. There's a reason that all of his associates said, stop this thing. They know he had the power to stop it because he was the one that started it. And in the midst of it, the speeches that he made that day, saying that they were heroes, saying that there is a lot of evidence. And I think
But that's not criminal negligence. That's dereliction of duty, and he should have been impeached for it.
If I encourage and facilitate a crime, I can be charged with a crime. It's called a conspiracy. He created the condition for it. He talked about the day. People had T-shirts for the day, and he told them, when you leave this rally, go and get our democracy back. I can't think of a clearer way. And here's the funny thing. Republicans are always saying they're about law and order and back the blue, unless it's their own people. Justice should be served here whether they wear a red jersey or a blue jersey, period.
Well, Mark Carlin seems to be damned if he does, damned if...
Okay, and there you go. With the one-year anniversary of the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol approaching, the House Select Committee investigation investigating the riot reveals new details. Jonathan Karl has more. Let's take a listen to that video right now.
Evacuate the Capitol. That is is not Ukraine. That is not Belarus. That is the United States Capitol right there just moments ago. Protesters incited by President Trump trying to break down the doors.
The president, although he has tweeted a call for being peaceful, he has not asked these people to evacuate the Capitol.
I'm worried about that building and American democracy and what this all says about that today and how out of control this is and how we were not ready for this.
That was the surreal scene at the Capitol 1 year ago this week. And as we approach the anniversary of the insurrection, our brand new poll with Ipsos shows that more than 70% of Americans believe that riot was a threat to our democracy. Most believe that Donald Trump bears a share of the blame. We'll hear from the two leaders of the committee investigating the attack after this report from Chief Washington Correspondent John Karl.
The more we have learned about January 6th, the more horrifying it has become. From the attacks on the police officers who tried to hold the mob back.
They tortured me. They beat me. This is how I'm going to die, defending this entrance.
To just how close the rioters came to members of Congress as they fled. Vice President Pence, we've learned, was rushed to an underground parking garage just as a group of rioters came looking for him, calling for his execution. We knew that then President Donald Trump never called to check in on his vice president during the siege, but when I interviewed Trump nearly 2 months later for my book Betrayal, he was not only unconcerned, but actually defended those chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." Were you worried about him during that siege? Were you worried about his safety?
No, I thought he was well protected, and I had heard that he was in good shape.
No, you heard those chants. That was terrible. I mean, it was,
he could have. Well, the people were very angry.
They're saying, "Hang Mike Pence."
Because it's common sense, John. It's common sense that you're supposed to protect. How can you, if you know a vote is fraudulent, right? Yeah. How can you pass on a fraudulent vote to Congress?
And we've learned about the incredible lengths that Trump and his allies went to pressure Pence before the riot, trying to get him to block Biden's election victory. In the years since, some Republicans have condemned Trump's actions, but many more have tried to stay in his favor, blocking the creation of an independent commission to investigate the riot and even echoing his lies about the election. Congresswoman Liz Cheney is one of the few Republicans to call for a thorough investigation, and she was punished by fellow House Republicans and stripped of her leadership position. But with Cheney and Adam Kinzinger as the sole Republicans on the January 6th committee, we are learning more about what was happening inside the White House as Trump's supporters attacked the Capitol, including the frantic text messages sent to then Chief of Staff Mark Meadows from people close to Trump, even his eldest son.
Donald Trump Jr. texted again and again, urging action by the president. Quote, "We need an Oval Office address. He has to lead now. It has gone too far and gotten out of hand."
Hanging over the investigation is the question of accountability. While more than 700 people have been charged for taking part in the riot itself, none of the political figures behind the effort to overturn the election have faced any consequences. Will any of them, even Trump himself, be held accountable?
Okay, and there you go on that report from Jonathan Karl. Rep. Liz Cheney says House Committee on January 6th gives her hope. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC this week.
This committee gives me hope.
As we approach this anniversary, partisan views seem to be hardening. Do you have any evidence, do you have hope that your report can actually change some minds?
You know, this committee gives me hope, George. I think that the way that the Select Committee is working is nonpartisan. It is very much one that brings together a group of us who have very different policy views, but who come together when the issues have to do with the defense of the Constitution. And so that does give me hope. And I also think the American people are looking for serious leadership. They're looking for people certainly on both sides of the aisle who are going to dedicate themselves to policy and substance and engage in the debates that we need for the health of the nation. and get away from the kind of vitriol that we are seeing too frequently, too often, frankly, on both sides. But as Republicans, we have a particular duty to reject insurrection, to reject what happened on January 6th, and to make sure that Donald Trump is not our nominee and that he's never anywhere close to the reins of power ever again.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Sunday edition of This Week with Riley King. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Goodbye.